South Africa is a constitutional democracy. We need to bear that in mind. And in terms of our constitution, we are required to have regular, free and fair elections. Now, the regular portion is dealt with as follows. The Constitution says that the term of municipal councils can only be 5 years, and there's no provision for an extension other than a 90-day period after the 5-year term has lapsed for us to hold and host those elections. And we are using that 90-day period. You will recall that the last municipal election was held, I think, the 4th or the 5th of August in 2016. So we're taking it almost to the extreme of the 90-day period. Now that deals with the regular portion. Coming back to the free and fair, we note and we acknowledge that there may be challenges in the prevailing COVID environment. And because of that, we have set up the Moseneke inquiry to look at this and to receive petitions from political parties, also to ask for advice from the medical experts, those in the know, in terms of patterns and predictions. And the inquiry will then look at all of these things and then provide a report to the Commission. This however happens after the registration weekend. And based on what that report informs us, the process will then be taken forward. And the process could possibly only be one of the following two. Either the Constitution is amended, and I don't want to speak on behalf of Parliament, but I don't know whether we have the time for that, or alternatively, we would have to approach the Constitutional Court for a just and equitable solution to the potential crisis that we have faced. But it's not just for us to ignore and say, there's COVID, we can't have elections and we can't go ahead. Statutorily or constitutionally, we are required to deliver, and that is what we are preparing for.
In terms of the registration weekend specifically, on 16 and 17 July, looking at a province like Gauteng, which is tallying up figures like 17,000, 16,000 infections per day. Do you have any plans in mind for a safer way of registering?
It is indeed a concern, not just in Gauteng, even though that is the bulk of the figures, but we also note that in other provinces, they're also picking up. So that is indeed a concern, and we do care for the safety of our citizens. The options available to us, first of all, is we are currently working on a solution for online registration, and we hope to have that available soon. What this will do is that it will allow for first-time voters to sit in the comfort of their home and to be able to register and get their names on the voters' roll. Voters who are already registered already have such a facility available. They go onto our website, create a portal into the website, and create a profile, a secure profile. They are able to amend their details, the address details. They can do that now. They do not need to wait on the registration weekend in July. So all that they need to do is go to our website, and under the tab for voters, there is a link that I think it's aptly named, I want to change my address. And then they can do that in there. But I'm also specifically excited about first-time voters, that we'll be looking at the online registration, because I think that is where we have the biggest gap currently in the voters' roll. And that we hope to launch within the foreseeable 2 weeks.
Accepting that we are going to the polls on 27 October, like you said, do you have alternative plans of voting? If you think about it, the pattern that the virus took over the last 3 waves, is about 4 months in between. And if there's a fourth wave, it should be around about that time.
Yes, Isaac, we would have loved to have an alternative, but the alternative obviously involves a big investment, and currently we have competing interests as far as the state taxpayers' money is concerned. We are all aware of the fact that it is not a bottomless pit; it is run dry, and so that is one of the constraints. The other constraint is that we had actually meant this year. We had planned for a pilot exercise on electronic voting. That, however, would have also have required an investment, and because of budget cuts and, as I've said, competing national interest, that is not able to take place. Now, maybe just on the bigger scale, as I've said, that was would have been a pilot. On a bigger scale, we have been having this debate and this discussion with political parties and interested stakeholders for quite a few years now. And it's not as simple as just taking a decision. There are views supporting it, and there are also views against it. Just to give you an example, we had made a slight amendment to the Electoral Act, which had nothing to do with electronic voting for this election, but basically just said, should we have this in the future, then let's make a provision now to say that we will also look at other forms of voting. And the amount of objection that came from that also signifies that the debate is long from over. So it's a continuous debate, yes.
In terms of the Moseneke investigation, when can we expect an outcome from that?
I think we've gone public on this, is that the report or the process will be completed shortly after, towards the end of July. So by that time, the report will be made available by the Commission, and then we should all know what the outcome is or what the proposals or suggestions are. I must also say that, not that I want to speak on behalf of the Commission, but we're also looking at inputs that those who have been interviewed by the Commission, or at least by Judge Moseneke, is also to look at ways and means to mitigate any risk. It's not just a simple matter of should we have elections or shouldn't we have elections. Just to give you an example, and this is, some of the comments or inputs that political parties have made in our discussions, in our National Party Liaison Committee, for example, to say that maybe we should look at increasing the number of days that we vote, so that we do not have a large number of people arriving on one day, and those type of suggestions. But so we will see what the report comes up with, but I don't think it's just a simple matter of going ahead or not going ahead.
But in the meantime, everything is ready for the registration weekend?
Yes, indeed. And on registration day, we will also be taking every precaution. We have a COVID protocol that we will be following. First of all, ensuring that if there are any queues, that there's social distancing outside. People must be wearing a mask. If you do not wear a mask, you will not be allowed to form part of the queue. And when you enter for the registration process, unlike voting, there is no need for contact with the voter. We have a new device, and the only interaction with the device and the voter is that we need to take a photo of his identity document or card, smart card. That is it. And then it's a conversation in terms of where is your address, etc. The applicant will be wearing a mask. The election officials will be fully adorned in protective clothing, mask, shield, etc. And there'll be sanitizing on the entry as well as on the exit as well. So we do take every precaution. I think at the end of the day, there will be less people inside of the voting district than what you would find in a shopping center or in a shop. And the amount of people also that will be processing. You must remember that we have about 22,000 voting stations, and not everyone will be coming. It's only those who are not registered, those who do not want to make use of the online facility, and the only people that you would normally want to expect there is those who want to physically come and do the thing, follow the manual process, but there are options available. So we do not expect large turnouts because it's not voting day. And just to give you an example, for us to get 2 million new voters, we require on average less than 50 voters per voting station over 2 days. And during those 2 days, we are open from 9 until 5.
What do you need to register?
To register, you need one of the 3 documents, either the new smart card document that is being issued. Alternatively, those who are still in possession of the old ID book, that is also acceptable. And if people do not have either, or they have lost the document, then they can go to the Department of Home Affairs and get a temporary ID. So we accept a valid one. Normally, when the department issues it, it's normally issued for 2 to 3 months. So please ensure that that document is valid. That's all.
Where do you have to register? Are they only do you register in the ward that you're going to vote? How's it going to work?
Isaac, that's a very important question, because previously that is what we asked people to do because of the technology and the business process that was followed. Because of the new technology, and essentially it is a ruggedized template, we have built-in software in there which use mapping services, etc. So you can now go to any voting station to go and apply to register. However, based on your address, we will enter you on the voting district in the ward where the address places you. So, for example, if you find yourself in the Western Cape now, but you stay in Pretoria and you want to register in Pretoria, if it was registration weekend, you could go to that venue and say, this is my address, giving your Pretoria address, and we will register you in Pretoria.
Oh, God.
But you will present yourself in Cape Town. So you can now go anywhere.
There you have it, Granville Abrahams of the IEC. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you, Isaac.